let it dry, and then I've got the tea bag paper left. And this is going to be really handy in those spots because that blue is a bit garish, even by my reckoning. So I'm just going to stick some tea bag paper over the top and it will fill in those little gaps. So I'm going to use it like a filler. Okay, onto there. So you could do a few of these at the same time. This is also a really good one to do with kids. So let's say they've had a painting session and, you know, they've had fun and some of the pictures are just them experimenting with playing with colour. You can let them create something new with it.
Okay.
Or give them old magazines and things like that and just go to town. This is so easy, but so rewarding. And I know people will probably go, but you've always got ideas. No, I don't. I don't always know what I want to do. I don't always, things do go wrong more often than you think. Right. So I have got now a delightful collage of stuff. I'm going to turn it over. Generally, you probably want to wait for your
glue to dry
a bit. And yeah, in reality, I probably would take those bits and maybe stick them to a piece of sellotape to create a snippet roll. But that's just me. Because that's another thing I do is have a roll of sellotape on the desk or parcel tape, and little bits like this as I'm working get stuck to the sticky side, and then you end up with like a custom washi tape almost.
See, that looks like dragon scales now.
Yeah, it's just, and I've really not, I mean, okay, there was a slight theme in the fact that I've got my jelly prints in there. So there is a little copper overload there because I'm in my copper period.
Oh, nice. She's in a copper area, people. In a copper, like Taylor Swift.
Right. So we've now got this, and it is still at this point random pieces of paper joined together. So there is no continuity across it. So what we're going to do is do a little bit of unification now. And one of the things we can do is we can take a paint, and I'm going to use my tester pot again. And I'm going to apply some paint to here. But paintbrushes are boring. Don't know how that lid works. So I'm going to just use random things that I've got on my desk. So one of the things I've got is a lolly stick. So I'm going to pick some paint up and I'm just going to drag some paint across.
See, this is the bit that would scare people now.
Okay. But because you're scraping, see how it's not overpowering it? Because we're scraping, we're almost removing some of the paint as well. So you're getting a hint of what's behind it. If I got a paintbrush and just slathered it all over the place, you wouldn't get such interest. But I was
going to say, does it also help that because the pages are different undulations? I just wanted to say that word. That you're scraping against them, so it's sort of butting up against the paper as well, so it won't smear across like toast. Is that right?
Yes, it's got that lovely. It's all about what we've been talking about in the previous academies. It's about these layers. It's about creating texture. But what we've now done is we have these little hints of this cream. So we're starting to unify it a little bit. It looks more considered, but it's not. It's still random. In fact, we've got that little trail there where I because I wasn't using a brush, I got that little trail going across. There's all sorts of different ways you can apply your paint. So you could grab something like a lid of something and do little circles. You could pick up the side and do straight lines. Depends what mood you're in. I'm in a scrapey mood this morning, so I've just scraped some paint across here.
And could you use a palette knife instead of a lolly stick?
Yes, the only trouble I find with a palette knife sometimes is there is the tendency to go on a little bit thick.
Okay.
But that's not a problem. It just isn't going to dry in the time that I want it to dry. And also, I've got a plan. I want to do something else on top of this. we are just building up layers without thinking about it. I can't emphasize this enough. The least you think about this, the better.
Okay.
So I'm now going to grab, I have got a commercial stencil, but as I said, this could be your offcuts of die cuts. This could be the packet of, the bag that the onions come in. I am then using some very, very exclusive texture paste that might have been lurking under the kitchen sink. Strange enough, when I need to fill holes in the wall, there's never any texture paste. I mean, filler left.
Did I also see you using Crown Emulsion?
Your match pot.
Yeah, there we go. I thought it was.
Because if you remember right back to the very first Academy, we had our tester pots out.
Yeah,
and I
we
sort of
did.
wanted to revisit some of these things that we've done so that you could see them in conjunction with other things that we've done. So we've also made our own texture paste. Do you remember, with the corn flour and the glue?
Yes, I remember those days.
So this is like a recap. And when you're using texture paste and things like that with your stencils, don't plop it right down in the middle and do it. And don't do the whole thing. Just do little patches of it. So I've done some at the edge. And as I always try and say, go off the edge a little bit. But if you want to do a bit in the middle, do a little bit. But don't do the whole stencil or mask. Just do a little bit. Okay, and we're just getting a little bit of texture.
I am going to say, for those people that are in the chat now or that are just watching in the background, please genuinely have a go at this. This is one of those things that, well, I know we keep saying trust the process, genuinely trust the process, because I think I know where we're going with this. But have a go. This is one of them. You'll go, oh my word, and you get loads from it as well. Then anything that you put on top of this works.
What I love about this is they never fail to inspire me.
Oh,
so
massively.
If I am literally, mojo's gone, I can't think of what I want to make. And I'm not lying, it happens. And it usually happens when you've got time to craft. And you sit down, you go, I'm going to craft. And your brain goes, no, you're not. Something like this, where I haven't had to think at all, but already this is exciting. And you can do different things on this. I've chosen to do texture paste, paint, because that's what we've done previously in our academy. So the next thing I'm going to do is sprays, because that's what we did last time. So I have got, because I had it left over from yesterday, the yellow spray that I had on yesterday. So I'm putting a mask down and I'm just giving it a spritz. I'm then going to flick my mask over and press it down as well. So it's going to lift that off. So you're getting almost a positive and a negative. I'm going to pop it down over there and I'm going to give a more generous spritz this time, more intense on the colour. And you see how, again, I've not overthought. The colour I had was just the colour that happened to be on my desk. Now, this is a commercial ink, but this could be your coffee spray that we made.
Yes.
This could be the one where you've mixed your paint in. If you're using a paint one, remember the paint will have an opacity to it. So whereas the yellow here is showing through, the underneath is showing through. With a paint, where the paint is, you can't overly see that. So if you've done paint, I would then go with an ink spray, because you're introducing a different finish. Because if you'd gone paint on paint on paint, it's all going to have an opacity. Whereas if you go paint and ink spray, you're getting these interesting layers. So when we talk about layers, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be built up layers. It doesn't have to be layers with foam pads. The layers could be flat layers and it's just what's going on underneath. But because we've used a spray, you see how that yellow tone is now going across the whole sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually going to leave it at that stage. I would normally say let this dry naturally, but time is against me. So I just want to give it a little bit of a dry. Oh, I didn't. I've noticed there's still some ink on there. Let's not waste that.
Just while that dries, once again, if you are new to these parts, to the Academy, we've got loads of new viewers, which is absolutely phenomenal. Got a question? Throw them into the chats now. If you're nervous, not nervous is the wrong word. If you want to ask away or you want to ask privately, you can email me as well. It's me that reads all the emails. I put the email address on the screen. Email me and I can pass it all on for you. A question from Emma. Oh, look at that. It's quite Aboriginal.
Yeah, I think because I've got the reds and the yellows in there. So imagine you did that. Say, for example, your spray was a silver spray or a gold spray. It could be a mica-y one. I mean, I've used plain ink there, but you could throw your micas in that we made last week. Right, fire away with Emma's question.
How thick does your cardstock need to be for it to work well?
Could do it on a copy of paper, to be fair. Just let it dry between layers, because if you're using a thinner paper, when you add the glue, it becomes quite delicate. Mm-hmm. But if you let it dry between layers, you'd be absolutely fine. This is 160 GSM cheapy copier card. You might do it onto the map that's underneath. See how using the map underneath, I've already now got some bits that can go in the pot for next time. But this is the stage. This is our good stage. Okay, I'm going to now, because we've got a background here ready to use. And what will happen if you don't do the next stage? The next stage is the trick to this, because you're already going, oh, I like that bit, and I'm going to cut that out, and then you try and get that in the middle and things like that. And we want this to be random. So when you're trying to do random, give yourself an element of control. So my first element of control was I'm using an A4 piece of card, so I can't go everywhere. That was my element of control. This time, I'm now going to turn it over because I want random bits of this, but I can give myself some control. So in the shopping list, I said a ruler or a straight edge.
You did.
I do have a ruler, grey board, to do a straight edge. And I would normally cut my whole piece up using the same one. But so I'm going to go with slightly bigger just because I think it will show up better on air. But This ruler gets used quite a lot. And all I'm going to do is take my straight edge. So this could be a plank of wood. The other thing I occasionally use is one of those wooden signs. That gets used quite a lot. Anything. It's just called a straight edge. So you're going to line it up to one edge, and then with a pen or pencil, draw a line. Then you're going to line it up again, draw a line, and you just repeat this. Now, it's not going to divide it up perfectly because you're always going to have an excess at the end, but it doesn't matter. But we can't see what's happening on the other side. So we're going to have a randomness to it. But
this is the bit that scared me.
Controlled random. So I'm going to line it up here. I'm not going to worry about this bit here. I might just leave this as this bit down the bottom here. I might just leave that as a strip because my straight edge isn't fully long enough.
That'd be quite nice though as a strip, really, with random, because it's all going to blend in really well.
It is. So, and I'm also going to get a piece off the end here. But you imagine if you did this with this ruler, you're going to get twice as many pieces. But we've still got 12 pieces coming here. Now, as tempting as it is, and I know someone in the room who did try and peep at this stage, not pointing the finger at anybody in particular, but his name may begin with an A.
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
I did try and look.
I do this with scissors because we're going through multiple layers. Some of it's still a bit wet and I would worry about my trimmer. But if you let it dry, you could use your trimmer. Depends how confident you are with your scissors.
This was the fun bit though, wouldn't you? Because I'm still using the bits that we made from the
Yeah.
last time from the Late Night Live.
And that one we did it in a, I wanted to show that you can use anything that you've got. So whatever you've been using that's out on your desk. So we did more paint. If you've been having a stamping session, instead of ink sprays and stencils, you could stamp over the top. You could do embossing powder. You can do anything that you have got lurking around. Oh, that turned over. That spoils the surprise. And also, you'll notice as I'm cutting them up, I'm not trying to put them back in the right place. I am just cutting and piling up. I don't know which way I've picked up the sheet. I don't know anything. I'm not putting them down in exactly the same way. So if I turn these over, this isn't a jigsaw puzzle.
Another question, just while you cut that one up. We don't normally do questions during the live. We normally do them towards the end, but I think this is a good one. Helen, it's more or less the same as me. Have you got any advice for people who hate mess? I don't mind ripping the paper or the gluing. It's the touching the other wet things that get me.
So you don't have to use the ink sprays. You don't need to use the texture paste. This could be inks. So when you've got it on the other side, get a stencil and your stencil brush and just go over it with your distress inks. Doesn't have to be a spray. Doesn't have to be texture paste. You could grab your stamps and just randomly stamp all over it. Could be your emboss pen. Could get your paint pens or your gel pens and just scribble all over it. It doesn't have to be. You could just do the paper stage. It would still work to a certain degree. You won't have quite as much interest there, but it doesn't have to be the messy mediums.
So could we do the paper bit and then use stamps and our Versify and just stamp randomly?
Yeah, and
get 12 different stamps and just stamp away.
What a good name, that, Stamps Away.
See what I did there?
But yes, and don't get hung up on the fact it's not going to stamp perfectly, because you've got all these different textures. When you press your different layers of paper, it's not going to stamp perfectly, but it doesn't matter. It's just about creating a little bit of interest. So you could even make your own stamps. That's a bit of cardboard and some die cut flowers and things. You could get stick those all over the top, so you're getting little hints of silhouettes and stuff. Anything that you can stick over the top to create little different tones. So offcuts of rice paper, you saw how nice it was using the tissue paper or the tea bag paper. So yeah, just because you don't like the sprays and that side of it, absolutely you can still do this. You just use the mediums that suit you.
Fabulous.
And then what you get,
look at this.
And I always love this, because you then start laying them out and you're like, hang on, that's taking up more space. I'm getting a really autumnal feel now to these. You've now got, I'm going to put some black down here, because
it is amazing how your work gets bigger once you've just cut it up.
Yes.
Yeah, this was an A4 piece of cardstock a minute ago.
But look how fabulous they are. They are like, so you would, I've just noticed that's true. You look at people's art journals and things, and you're like, wow, look at that. But how easy was that? And how different it looks. And because I have muddled these up, I'm not trying to put them back together as a jigsaw puzzle. But you've got this fabulous little piece. They are perfect size to go on the card front. And they look different depending which way you turn them. And now you can start to use these to create. I need another bit. See, this is it. I need now another bit of black,
because we've gone over.
Because they've just suddenly expanded. There's no trickery here. I haven't suddenly stuck more on here. But put them onto a different contrasting colour so that you can see how fabulous they look. Right, so how do we then use these? And I say, you can't help but think, whew, they're small enough to still be they're not scary, but there's like, oh, so I was getting an autumnal feel. That's not actually, I'd got some flowers and things. But when you've got such a busy background like that, the trick is keep your foreground fairly simple. So I'm just going to take, to begin with, I'm going to take one of my flower stamps and I'm going to stamp it in black and white. Well, I'm stamping it in black, but I'm using an old record card just so it's not, because this is quite a big stamp. I didn't want too much white expanse. So by having lined paper, it's giving me a bit more interest. So that's another thing you can do. Change up your paper and it will just add a little bit of interest. So it's, again, that's a different sort of layer. But I say it doesn't have to be.
Jean's asked, and I'm guessing she's asking, can you use rather than she uses? I'm unsure. Use the ridged area from cardboard. Would that work?
Yes, and I normally have a bit on my desk. Yes, I. So, at what point are you talking about? Are you talking about it as within the torn paper stage?
I'm assuming so.
Yeah, you can use it then. I mean, that sort of got that sort of feel, that piece. The other thing I use the corrugated for is putting the paint on. So you get nice straight lines.
That'd be good.
I'm just cutting out this flower. I'm not going to... I'm going to cut it all out.
Okay. We've got time. We've got ages. It's only 37.
But what I love about this is, so it doesn't matter how, you see how quickly these come together. And then you could just pop them away for now until you need a little topper. But they just spark the brain because and you've got the randomness. Because you've drawn and cut them up from the back, you're not making any conscious decisions. So you're getting the interest of things being slightly off. So a lot of people struggle with random because they forget to go off the edge of the page. They forget to rotate things. So if you were stamping randomly, this tends to be, when you're first starting, this tends to be how you do it. And everything's facing the same direction. So even if you did that as your stamping layer on top of here, instead of doing stencils and spray, if you did stamping, even if you stamped like that, by the time you've cut it up from the back and dropped the pile, they're going to be facing in different directions. They're also not going to be smack bang in the middle of the square. So they're going to be perfectly random.
Does all the ripped paper need to be the same thickness?
Nope. So, as an example, the wallpaper, super, super thick. Some of the jelly prints were on copier paper.
Well, we saw you using tissue paper as well, didn't we?
There was some tissue paper. There was some book page in there. There was a bit of the map, which is a bit thicker again. So, no, that all adds to the fabulous texture of it. That's your layers. The only thing I would say, don't think about it. True. Literally, there is no thought process at that point. So it could be, the only thing I would say is if you're using an envelope or something like that and you've torn that up, you might find that it will separate into the two layers. So you've either got two pieces to use then. Right, so let's move that out of the way a second. There we go. Let's bring some of these. And now I've only got half of them down here. So you can then start to just put, and see how that flower pops
really
because
does.
It's plain. We've got this super busy background. And then you just decide, so I'm going to have that. But I could also put two. Oh, in fact, if I put two like that, and again, because I've cut them up randomly and let them just fall, they're not a continuation. It's not a jigsaw puzzle. And then that across there is starting to work. You could have another one there and start to tile them together. You could just use one and cut your flower up so it's sort of stick it on and then trim it off. But I kind of liked that idea. And at this point, I just get a few bits laid out. So the other thing I've got is I've got some Tim Holtz Bugs die cut ones in white. So again, it's keeping that new sort of very plain.
But that works as well.
Okay, so it's sort of, and I could do a little bit of dimension on there. You could get your dies and die cut some bits to go on there. Again, your stamps, anything that you've got that's black and white. So the other one I like to use is like some little word stickers. So
would this run through our die machine at this point because of the thickness?
Almost certainly. I've only got my Grand Caliber up here. My Big Shot's downstairs. It was used in class, so I would probably prefer, frankly, to use Sizzix Biggs dies.
Okay, good to know.
But I just thought this was a rather apt saying. Good things come in small packages. And then I was thinking, this is going to look a bit cruel. I do apologise now. But cut the bee in half.
Let's do it.
Like you do.
Jean says it reminds her of the Van Gogh painting Walk Through the Sunflower Fields.
Yes. And you can really change the mood by what colours you grab. But again, I didn't overthink it.
See, that works as well. Look how quick that works.
So it's again that having, maybe clean your fingers in between. I mean, it'd be nice if I have to do a shout out to Shona, who cut these for me, because I don't actually have this die set. Otherwise, I would cut some in black as well. But she very kindly sent me little packets of them cut from different materials.
Shona.
I say I haven't got the die set yet.
Oh, it's on its way, people.
Just because I just think it's a really nice one. So I'm going to pop the bits out there. Now, this is a talk amongst yourselves for a bit because I will get lost.
No, you do this. I can read some more comments. This is making husband really uncomfortable. Oh, we don't want this. Oh, here we go. Where do we go with this? As he wants to put my work back together like a jigsaw. Fair play to him. Tell him to go out in the garden. It's sunny. I've now sent him into the garden. Oh, here we go. I should have read on, Adam, you fool. Read on. I've now sent him into the garden to mow the lawn to get him out of my creative space.
But you could put them back together, but I would space them out.
Yeah, I'd leave a little black border.
Yeah, little black border. So we'll take, I mean, now I've muddled them up. I've got no idea of putting them back together. To be fair, it's not as easy as it sounds. It would keep him quiet, though. Maybe do two.
Yeah, that would.
Maybe do one that he can put back together and one that you lose. Because if you just take them, so for art journals and things like that, just, you know, arranging them.
It would also look beautiful behind apertures. You know, if you punched a circle and then just put it behind, it would look stunning with a black border.
Bear with me one moment.
I need one of these circle punches.
You just wanted my circle punches out, didn't you?
I do. I love these circle punches. These are my favourite things of all time. I've looked on Amazon for them this week.
Yeah, they're well old.
Wales, looking at Wales on a sunbed. Look at that.
So that on a card would
just work.
Again, a simple sentiment. I'm getting a very, very, I've not got any here. I was thinking of my poppy heads.
Yes.
I have got a grass that's...
As you do.
Okay. This is where you can then go off at what we like to call a tangent.
Love a tangent. We love a tangent on this show. You know we do.
So I thought I'd...
Looks like a planet. Yes, Lucy, it does look like planets. You imagine doing loads of these on a card front.
Yes,
with
so
circle
if you
cards.
did... Hang on.
Apparently, if he wants to put it together his way, he needs to create his own. Fair enough. Fair enough. Great.
So 3 holes,
Oh, look at that.
3 different ones.
3 different moons.
But do you know what is making me proper happy? Is that people are going, you could do this, you could do that.
That's the thing, people have seen it.
shows the power of these little squares. But how fabulous does that look?
Look at that for a DL card.
Yeah. So add a little sentiment to it if you wanted, or just leave them as is. Right,
or with the flower, like with the flowers you were going to do, you could use that as your background with your flowers and your poppies on the front.
Yeah, or where's he gone?
Now, yes.
That's why I always say black and white just pings forward. Again, you could have a little different little bug in there. But I was just looking, that flower's probably, that grass is probably a bit delicate for this. But let's give it a go.
Let's give it a go.
Again, work on something, because I've now got a silhouette. That might work. I have probably got some, but if you've got silhouette stamps, they would work really nicely.
Apologies if it was already mentioned. Never apologise. That's what we're here for. The blue piece of card Ali was using at the beginning, was it A4 or A3, or doesn't it matter?
Doesn't matter. Mine was A4 only because I was very conscious of time, but I would happily do an A3.
Huge.
And also
Imagine
trying
all
to
the
get it so it
bits.
fitted in the camera.
Yeah,
Yes, everybody needs a circle punch. They are
everyone.
great things.
I don't think anywhere sells them though. I don't know who sells them.
I mean, obviously you could use your nesting dies, but I would go for just a plain circle, nothing fancy. And in fact, this homemade stamp, that was a very, very old original red Sizzix die called Circles. And I bet if you asked Pete Hughes, he would know if they still make that. Now, a poppy head would be even better, but look at that. So that grass in black, just
see, that looks nice.
So something like that.
Looks like fields.
Yeah, in fact, if I'm a bit cheeky, I know that's a shocker for me, but if I'm sort of a bit, we cut it, so we've got 2 bits.
Oh, look at that. Looks like reeds.
So let's just get some glue on here. I'm not worried about, because the glue will dry clear. It'll just help me hold it down.
For those people, we've gone on sort of a circle punch tangent now. What size is your one?
Right, it is
38mm.
That is the 2-inch, and the other one is the 3-inch, I believe, because they're really, yeah, that's the 2-inch one. Circles are fine. It is the diameter, but they do square punches as well. They used to do square punches as well, which are fabulous, but they were measured on the diagonal like a TV. So just, but yeah, that's a 2-inch. The other one is the 3-inch, but obviously because the size I've cut my squares, that one, although, hang on, tangent time. Right, just put that there. I will come back to finish. Welcome to how my brain works.
No, we like it. We like it.
So let's just
2-inch circle punch for 5. That's 5 centimeters, 2 inches. Like a ruler.
So I would get 4 of them glued down, and then have it. So again, you've got that sort of randomness within there.
Yeah, that's
I've got enough circles to play with. Now for this, I am going to glue these to a bit of board because they're wanting to curl up a little bit at the moment. And just because of the speed I'm working, I'm not letting things dry and settle. Now, to begin with, just while my brain is doing some thought processes, I'm going to space them out like a window and then decide, because I'm using a wet glue, I can do this. I can decide if I like it with a gap in or if I don't. So just get those down, and then I'm going to bring my circle over Do I like it with the gap in between, or do I like them bunched together? Oh, I don't know. Help people. Which one?
Which one do we think, people? We've got 6 minutes, so get your comments in quick. I couldn't find any reasonable price circle punches, so I used my scan and cut. What an idea. Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Just be, yeah, so it's fine because you're only cutting your black card. I wouldn't put this on your scan. I wouldn't put your squares on your scan and cut because it might mucky up your blade a little bit.
The comments are delayed, so nothing's coming in. I think with the little border, I'm gonna take preference on this.
Yeah, executive decision.
Yeah.
But this is why we use a wet glue, because we've got time to change our mind. And then do we want it offset? I kind of like it like that.
Yeah.
And also ignore, let's cover this up, because it's quite distracting having that. So I always have little offcuts at the side here so that I can screen things off to give me the full illusion. Because while that was there, it can be distracting. It's the same as when you're matting and layering. If you just take a piece and put it smack bang in the middle of your black, it doesn't give you the full idea of what it's going to look like. You always put it to the very edge, so you mimicking the yeah, I think that would go like that. But I got distracted and I went off at a tangent and I forgot my little grasses that we were doing. So let's now go back to our grasses. Welcome to how my brain works.
The grasses would be nice, though, in that circle that you've just made.
Oh.
To frame it. Oh, yes.
But this isn't this absolutely fabulous? Because everybody's starting to go, oh. And that is what I adore with this technique. Because you have suddenly created these little inspiration pieces. But yeah, that. So you could then go off on the dog walk and find some more. I've got lovely poppy heads and they emboss beautifully. But the black against there, and then come in again with some little words. You know, add a little word there if you want. Do 3 different ones. Just how much fun can you have with what started as waste?
No, this is true. And it also works with all your stamps. Any stamp that you've got. I've just shown the one I used with some random flowers that I've done. I've also used this with Tracy Hay and her cutie stamps. They worked beautifully well with those as well in front. There is so much you can do with this background technique. Where's my Tracy Hay one?
You could start to play around as well. The other thing I have done... Now, I've cut these to square. You could do these to rectangles to ATC size, as long as you do it on the back. So you are not predetermining where pieces go, because that's when you start to lose that beautiful organicness to it. They also look amazing on a biggish piece. You see people on Instagram and stuff like that do these amazing collage artworks, which they charge an absolute fortune for. So let's just, my trimmer's downstairs, so I am going to hand cut these. So it's not going to be quite as impressive.
Oh, Jill Day says, I've really enjoyed doing mixed media. I managed to get the mixed media bundle yesterday. She can't wait.
Excellent, excellent. Yes, it just, and also something like this, and the same with what I was doing yesterday, it's all about doing small bits, because these would work on a card. See that on a card with maybe your little flower die cut or something like that, and a nice sentiment.
Like this one I showed him a minute ago. Like that. Look.
Yeah, beautiful. So I think this is something that we've sort of been trying to get over with the Academy, is the fact that mixed media is not a standalone craft.
It's not that scary either once you actually get into it.
It isn't. And I mean, and this is mixed media because we've used our texture paste, we used our sprays, we've used a bit of paint. And even if you were like Helen and not wanting to to use necessarily the wet mediums. There's plenty of dry mediums, like your embossing powders and stuff, that you could use for this. But something like this, I mean, or that way in a frame, you'll see modern art that looks very similar to this. All you're doing is validating it by giving it a little bit of a black edge, but you could just have so much fun. And so what have we done? So there's one there, there's the one with the grasses, there's 4 there, and we had 12, and that didn't even count the long bit that I left.
Yeah, the long strip.
That bit, which I will glue some of these up at some point. Let's imagine this is your card blank.
But could we do the same technique? I'm only going from what Jean says. She ordered the church frame. She's going to put her ATCs on it. Could we do this with the ATCs that if we bought it yesterday?
Yes. Yes. So instead of doing just squares, you could cut it straight up into ATCs. But again, I'll know if you haven't, mark them up on the back. So you're getting that randomness. But how cool does that look as a little leading edge on your card?
Oh, nice.
And then we'll bring, where's my bug? You're starting to get a really, really nice card.
Look at that.
But it is mixed media. Mixed media does not have to be big, doesn't have to be wall art. And also the whole process of this, all of a sudden your endorphins have kicked in. It is joyous. And there was no thought. No, I had no plan. This is why this last bit is very much me going, oh, I could do this. Because that is what these do. That's what these make you think. Even that little bit there, I could do a hidden paper clip with that. I could make it into a little bookmark. There's all sorts of different, when you're doing a card and you want a nice, I'm just going to use this one because this is rather apt. So when nothing is sure, everything is possible. That can then become your sentiment bar on your card.
Jill's asking slightly off subject, but we're going to answer it anyway. Can she ask what was the yellow sticker bottle yesterday?
It's yellow ink.
Yellow ink. Artist trading cards. For those people that don't know what they are, literally we've got 2 minutes before we've got to go. What are artist trading cards? ATCs.
ATC is, hang on, wrong button. It is a piece of card that is 3.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Traditionally, you would decorate them with a different technique and then you would swap them with your friends, hence the trading cards. But they're just a nice size to work on. Again, it's not a scary size.
There you go. Oh, too big there, Adam. Time is time. Thank you, Elle. I've loved that. Absolutely loved it.
I love this.
We could go on forever. We could really.
Yeah, could. Don't give them the stream back. They don't want it.
They don't need it back. Ali's back next month. Also, this Wednesday, Ali's got her own live, 7 o'clock.
Thursday. Because there's an eclipse.
Oh, bloody eclipse.
I've moved for the eclipse.
How dare you, eclipse. This Thursday, then. Oh, I'm on telly as well. I love my Wednesday nights.
Can you not have me on under the counter?
I could. This Thursday, 7 o'clock over on Stamps Away. All of this. Ali goes through everything that we've just been through. Loads of demos. Normally about 9-10 demos per hour. And then a lot of tangents as well. Maybe. There's
lots of tangents.
All that stuff that you currently see behind Ali has all been made, either on the Academy or on Ali's Lives. Don't go anywhere. We are back tomorrow with Technique Tuesday with Hunky Dory. Loads still to come. Remember, every day this week till next Tuesday, there is an Academy. Thank you, Ali. It's been an absolute pleasure. Speak to you all soon. Bye. Now I'm going to try and log out.